Hi, everyone. This is Michael Gerard again, this time with another Astro Tidbit on the exaltation and fall of the moon. So, just a quick review of what exaltation is. It's the idea that a planet is lifted up. Other astrologers again describe it as a planet who's an honored guest in the sign that it is exalted in, and also called the highest expression of that planet. And again, when it comes to the essential dignity of a planet, exaltation is often considered second only to domicile. And Kira Ryberg refers to domicile rulership as being in a place to provide resourcing to other planets or to the native or to whatever it is you're looking for. So, as such, being in domicile suggests all that a planet has access to, both the good and the bad. So, if you have a planet that has some bad habits, that would be it's at home, so it has access to everything that it is capable of giving. Now, every one of the classical planets has a sign of exaltation, as well as a specific degree of exaltation, but not every sign has an exaltation lord. So Kira Ryberg references exaltation as a kind of secondary rulership of a sign. In its absence, triplicity becomes the secondary lord. So I do recommend that you listen to her podcast, The Threads of Fate, where she gets into this idea a little bit more. Now, when it comes to the moon is the fastest moving classical planet. Like the sun, it never goes retrograde unless there's a really, really big problem. The moon visibly waxes and wanes. So, Cancer, the only sign that's ruled by the moon, is famous or maybe infamous for its variable moods. And Cancer is also associated with cooking and nourishment. So, that's one of the associations with the moon: nourishment, memory, intuition, and comfort. And for those of you who were born at night, the moon takes on even more importance as a planet of identity, as a sect light. You tend to identify a little bit more with that sign. Now, the moon is often important because it's so fast as a mediator of other planetary influences, including the concept of transfer of light, which is sort of a subset of its mediation abilities, where involving a conjunction. And finally, the moon is very important in electional astrology. You want to make sure it's at least an acceptable condition, if not outright good condition, because it's the planet that's closest to the Earth or Terra. So the moon in its fall is usually not the best unless there are other mitigating factors. So, what is the moon's exaltation? Well, the moon's exaltation is in the sign of Taurus, a fixed Earth sign that is ruled by the planet Venus. So, in this sign, the moon's ability to nourish is given help by the pleasant mid spring growth in the northern hemisphere. So, you're starting to see some of the first fruits coming onto the trees or the bushes, whatever the case may be. And the other thing is that the moon's variability gets some help by staying fixed in Taurus, which is arguably the most fixed of signs. So it kind of evens and smooths it out. And it's also ruled by this pleasantness. So it's eased and smoothed into kind of a good, pleasant feeling. Now, contrast this with the moon's fall, which is in the sign of Scorpio, a fixed water sign that is ruled by Mars. Scorpio is associated with intense focus, death. The holiday of Halloween is in this season, and decomposition. And more generally, the moon's variability is fixed, but it's like water in a pipe, and it's hard to provide nourishment from a confined space. Also, it's ruled by Mars, and so to quote my wife's ex-husband, you can wind up having your variability get stabilized into a bad place, into an angrier, grumpier place. So again, with this idea of Mars, Mars is in fall in the sign of Cancer, which is the only moon ruled sign. And so you can see here kind of this tension between the moon and Mars, how they tend to not get along. And the only good aspect between them is actually when the moon and Mars are in their own signs of exaltation, and they make a nice trine between Taurus and Capricorn. So, if you're interested in learning more about astrology, or if you are interested in a reading, feel free to reach out to me at skymirror.today, as well as on Blue Sky, which is Michael M. Gerard at or dot blue sky dot social, and my cat's here, so I'll just leave it there. This is our cat Kai. And let me leave it there.